is back. In the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, I bear witness there is no God but Allah, who we believe came in the person of Master Fard Muhammad. And we thank him for raising up for us the living and exalted Christ, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And we thank those two for leaving in our midst today a warner and guide in the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. It's in their three names. I would like to greet you with the greeting words of peace. We said in the Arabic language of Assalamu alaikum. She talking about, dang, that was my song too. Baby ain't never told me that was her song. What's now she talking about? Nah, just playing. But nah, man, today, man, hey, we got a good one. Now I'm telling you now, I can tell you today we got a good one because she has what she has done for me and my family. Oh my goodness. This sister right here, if y'all get with this sister, your finances gonna go from like this here, broken. Oh, she gonna straighten that thing going out. She gonna get them numbers together. See, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not the numbers person. I'm just I'm just gonna go out there and I'm just hunting. You know what I'm saying? But you always need somebody that's on the back end that can clean this stuff up. This is the sister that said, Brother Ben, come on now. Oh, Brother Ben, you got to have your receipts in order. You got to know where this is. You got to know what this. You can't be giving out money like that. You're hurting yourself. All right now, if they coming out of this, they're going to. So this is the one that's getting me together behind the scenes, man. I can tell you. Now, she is, for the past, I don't know, year or so, man, just been a guy with this stuff, man. And when it comes to the tax codes and knowing what to do and how to be in line and knowing the updates, like this is a sister y'all really want to get your notepad out. So if you don't have a notepad out yet, please get you a notepad out. This sister Cortney Rose. If you got a business, or even if you don't have a business, it's tax time, and you definitely want to get this type of information. You definitely want to be armed with this type of information. So today, the title is Monopoly, Understanding Money and Taxes. Now, we know that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that there's three sciences they haven't taught us, or they didn't teach us. The science of business, the science of mating, the science of warfare. So that science of business, man, we're about to understand and get that science of the business. Not just how I create a product, not just how I go to work and make some money, but we want to get the science and the understanding of it. So today is going to be a good day. Make sure you invite somebody if you haven't already. All of us need this. I don't care if you got a business or you just got your little job. All of us need to hear what needs to be said today. So share this with your family, share this with your friends, put this in the group chat, tell them, hey man, y'all need to come listen to this real quick. There's gonna be some news you can use. Everybody just put this in your group chats and let them know. But with no further ado, we're gonna bring up Sister Cortney. I think I got you as the co-host just in case you need to share your screen, a presentation or anything. And you have the floor.
Well. I just want to say I'm super grateful to be here for Brother Ben, for Nani, your amazing family, to be able to share some stuff that really I've just used in my life. I've used all these years with my clients, and I didn't realize the impact it would have. I titled this message, Understanding Money, Monopoly, Understanding Money and Taxes, because I realized that this money world is really just a big old game. And if you could understand it and you can master it, I believe it will create so much freedom. So I'm excited to share some things. I wanted to show you just a little bit about me really quickly, and then we'll jump into what we're going to cover. So I've been a business owner for plus 14 years. I did the math this morning. I've served over 11,200 taxpayers and over 4,000 business owners. My why in building business is because I realized that there was a time period in life where we got knocked down, we lost everything. And when we lost everything, we could have laid down, we could have stayed down. And during that season, I figured out how to be able to build a business as a 23-year-old girl that dropped out of college, that was not smart. My mom helped me write my papers, and it literally created a life for me that I that I don't deserve them. And so I believe that this is something that, I want to share with others of, hey, just some things that I've learned. And my mission is to really help people conquer and dominate life. As, someone that's been in the tax industry for so many years, I sit with families and they're excited to get married. And then I hear about how they lose the job. I hear about how they lose then the marriage goes bad. I hear about the illness and they couldn't pay to get the health coverage that they need. And I begin to recognize if we could just conquer this money game, this life that we live, for some reason you have to exchange dollars, for everything that you buy in life. If we could find a way to annihilate it, then I believe it'll allow us to, live in our God-given purpose. And so, yeah, I'm going to jump right in. So my mission is to just help you guys just see money a little bit differently when you get off this call, and to have a fire in you to build a business. Follow everything that Brother Ben X does to build a business that's going to create a lot of freedom, so that there won't be no limitations. All right. So one of the things that we're first going to talk about is understanding money. I believe money is ultimately one of two things. It's either a tool that allows you to build the life that you want to have, a tool that allows you to help people, a tool that allows you to be able to take your family places, to allow you to build businesses, to allow you to build lives, families, anything that you want to build in this life. Or I believe it's a prison. It's something that can cause you to live a life that's less than imaginable, to cause you to drive a car, maybe that breaks down from time to time, to cause you to live in environments that are less than favorable, that cause you to live in environments where maybe your kids aren't getting the best education. I believe, that money is either a tool or a prison. And because there was a time period where money was a prison for us, it determined, what, when we could leave, our house, because we lived, in a very impoverished area where there was a curfew at 10 o'clock. We had to steal our groceries. I believe that if we can figure out how to make money a tool for us, then money will no longer be a prison. There won't be anything that we can't have, that we can't create. There won't be anybody that we can't help, because it's a tool. It's meant to help others, right? While helping ourselves. And so I want to make sure when we leave this tonight, you begin to identify, man, is the money that I have or that I don't have, you know how can I make it a tool? How can I create so much of it whereby, I'm able to create a life of freedom and there are no limitations? And how can I get out of this prison of my money controlling what I eat, what I drive, where I go? If I can afford to, give my kids quality food, or I have to, choose a lower quality of food. And so, yeah. All right. So there are different ways to earn money, right? We know that there are either jobs or businesses. Um, I am I'm a fan of creating businesses, and I'll just tell you, because I believe in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth, and He created, which is direct instruction that we are called to create. While jobs are amazing, they are amazing, amazing, amazing. I believe that we should be building both simultaneously. So there's two ways to earn, and we're going to talk about the difference. We know these, right? But I want to make sure we cover them. So the difference is a job, when you have a job, someone determines your role, someone determines your responsibilities, someone determines your scope of work. Someone determines your compensation, your availability, right? What if you can take your kid to school, if you can't take your kid to school, if you can attend practice, if you can attend practice, your quality of life. If your kids can afford to play sports, if your kids can afford to play sports, if your kids can afford to, have whatever life experience, if your kids can afford to have quality shoes versus your kids having, no quality shoes, and then business, I believe the difference is, as a business owner, you get to determine your role. You get to determine your responsibilities, your scope of work, your compensation, your availability, how much time you have for family and loved ones, and for what it is that you want to do in this life, or your lack of. I believe that having a business, it as well allows you to be able to determine your quality of life and even your flexibility. What you can and can't do is generally determined by, your job or your business, and so I just want us to be mindful of that and have dominion over, because I believe, that we're called to have dominion over all things in the land, right? So the pros and cons, I believe that there are so many pros to having a job and so many cons to having a job, as the same with business, and so many people are afraid to create because they're like, what if I fail? That's a different conversation I would love to cover, but we won't be able to today. But some of the pros of having a job is, of course, there's security, there's medical coverage, there's retirement plans, now while some of the cons are limited tax benefits. And if you lose your job, you can possibly lose your quality of life, right? Whereas a business owner, some of the cons are there's no security. So if you don't make any money, you can't pay the bills. Um, there's likely no one else, unless you, right, to create it. There's unlimited tax benefits. If your business fails, you compromise quality of life. So there's so many reasons why I understand people say, I never want to own a business because it's too much responsibility, it's too much work, it's too hard. I don't have, all these things like job security, and I need to know that I'm gonna get a paycheck so I can pay the bills. While those are beautiful things, sometimes they can hold us in prison because we can only live the quality of life that that job is going to pay us for. So why am I talking about this? Because I believe that it's important for us to build both. I believe that I believe that we should have businesses in addition to our jobs so that our quality of life can fully never be compromised by our jobs. So why do I say that? I talked to so many taxpayers. I've talked to so many over the years, and I begin to understand, man, life is good. They're making $70,000. They got married, they bought the house, they had the kids are in daycare. Life is so good. Woo, they buy a car, they're winning. And then somebody loses a job. And then now the marriage is on the line. And now it just presents them with so many other issues, and now their confidence is damper because they didn't realize that their confidence was based in the fact that they had this great paying job because they went to school and they got this education, and they don't believe it's possible to ever be able to build a business that'll pay them what they made on their job. So their entire rest of their life is compromised because they don't believe that it's possible to build a business that can ever replace their job income. And so I believe that while working on our jobs, you guys attending these calls with Brother Ben and following him and getting every piece of information that he provides, you should really be taking it in, and not just taking it in, but digesting it, not just consuming it, but digesting it and taking action on it. Because I believe, that it is beyond possible for our businesses to exceed our job income. And we should be doing that if we're in jobs while in our jobs. Make sense? Cool. So this led me to believe that everybody should have businesses and don't wait to build so. Like don't wait until you lose the job to build the business. Don't wait. Don't think that it's okay. I'm going to keep on putting it off. I'm going to keep on putting it off. I'm going to keep on playing small. And if it kind of does something, I don't believe that we should be passive about building businesses. I think we should be very aggressive and direct because that's what's going to allow us to be able to, have more tools, right? And instead of me using the word money, I'm using the word tool because I believe that money is a tool. That's all that it is. It's either a tool or it's a prison. So I'm saying have more tools. All right. The reason why I say this as well is take a look at Brother TJ, for example. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to stop share, and then I'm going to do another share, and I'm going to share an actual tax software with you. This was one of the real scenarios. For the sake of this illustration, hopefully you can see my software. This is totally a fake social, so none of this information is, real. This is a client. His name is Brother TJ. This is his wife, Jamie Bells. They're in their 40s and 50s, right? They live in Los Angeles, California. They have a son, a niece, and a parent. They're making $182,000. Their refund, we're not going to get into that. Why am I showing you this? Because I have seen in this exact illustration, Brother TJ lose his job. He's making all this money on his job, and the moment he loses his job, he said forever that he was going to open his business. Everything that he was doing for his company, he planned to do for himself and open up a consulting company and teach other people what he does in his day trade. Well, guess what? He didn't do that. He waited and he waited and he waited and he lost his job. And now when he lost his job, he lost his confidence. And that caused him to think that, man, nobody wants to work with me. So It interfered with his confidence to build a business. And now this $182,000 income that he was making in this house that he was living in and these kids that he was providing for and his mom, Sarah, he's not able to provide that. Now his marriage is on the line and his quality of life is on the line. And he doesn't believe that he's going to find another job out there like that. So why am I sharing this? The importance of building a business is so important. So while you're in a job, building a business, it's going to allow you to be able to do so many things. Some of the direct information that you're learning in your employer, you're able to take those practices, take that mindset, take their operating, mindset procedures, take everything, how they operate you, how when you're working on a job, they tell you, okay, you need to be on the calls for 20 minutes. It's going to give you a sense of order, knowing that when you're on a call in your business, you're only going to be on a call with a client for 20 minutes instead of waiting until you lose the job. And then now your confidence is dampened and your quality of life is dampened. You can't give back. We're praying, all of our prayers are going towards God, bless me with some income because, we don't have it when we could be praying other prayers. So, respectfully, I think it's so important to build businesses and it's so important to build businesses while we're actually while we're on our jobs. Let me pull up my presentation again. Da da da. Present. All right. Hopefully you guys can see my screen. So that's why I say, build a business and build a business while you're in your job. What do we do? I'm going to tell you, if you're like, man, I work a job, it's not possible. I'm going to tell you to build a business and build a business when you are off work and commit 20 to 30 hours a week. That means that you may have to give up your weekends, give up your evenings, give up sleep to be able to make a $3,000 to $5,000 a month. You may have to sacrifice for a period of time. This saying that my mom would always say, she's like, pay now and play later, or play now and pay later. At some time period in your life, whether you're younger or you're older, you're going to have to pay. Pay for not making good decisions when you're younger, or you're going to be able to play when you get older because you've made good decisions. You've sacrificed. When everybody else is on the weekends and they're living it up and they're watching the Super Bowl and they're doing all these things, you're at home, you're dialed in, you're on calls, learning information, you're working on your business, right? You're doing things that's going to help you take your business to the next level versus not. Because you're going to have to work hard for somebody. You will have to work hard for somebody in this life. Why not do it for yourself as well, right? If you wanted to say, okay, great, this is great information. You're telling me to open a business. In the event that you don't already have a business, here's a really, really quick roadmap of how to start a business. The first thing I'm going to tell you is to start a business by becoming a sole proprietor or some sort of structure, right? It could be a single member LLC, a multi-member LLC. I just put LLC here for the sake of this. This would be a roadmap. Okay, if you're going to open a business, this is what you do. 1 to 6, start a business by becoming a sole proprietor or an LLC. The next thing you'll want to do is you'll want to form your articles of formation. That's only saying my business name is Coach Cortney Rose. My address of my business is 3900 Teleport, Highway. This is my registered agent. It's very direct. So often we pay individuals for that when it's something that we can actually do for ourselves. So form your articles. After you form your articles, get your EIN with irs.gov. It is 100% free. After you form your articles with irs.gov, you can go to a platform called rocketlawyer.com and you can actually get operating agreements for all of like $39. So this basically communicates how your business is ran, who runs the business. It's your internal paperwork that basically says how your business is ran. I'm going to tell you what this opens up once you begin to establish your business and open it. In the event that you're already a business owner and you don't have these things, and here's a really good roadmap for you to reference as well. So get your EIN with irs.gov. Once you do that, then, make sure you draft your operating agreements with rocketlawyer.com. Then open your business bank account. After you open your business bank account, I'm going to tell you, shift as much expense as possible from your personal name to your business name, right? We can get into tax deductions here in a second, but that's like your cell phone. Right now, you guys are on these calls. You guys are on these calls for personal development, professional development. You guys are not just on these calls for leisure, right? That means that this cell phone that we're all probably on right now, this could be something that's a viable business expense. It's something as simple as calling your cell phone provider. Hey, T-Mobile, this is Courtney. I just need to actually let you know that this is a business line. What information do you guys need to go about getting my cell phone bill switched over into my business name? Oh, you need my EIN. Great. I actually just got that earlier today. Oh, you need my business name. Okay, I can provide you with that expense, some of the easy expense to begin to shift over is like your cell phone bill, your internet bill, right? When you're operating and you're working, your internet is a viable business expense, right? We can talk about how much you deduct and all of that at a later time if you use it for personal as well. But these are expense that you can easily shift over into your business name. Your renter's insurance, right? Insurances that you have, your utility providers, these are expense that once you get your business set up should be the first expense that you actually get shifted over. Why is it going to do that? Because money is either a tool or a prison, right? So if you're spending all this money, we work really hard to pay bills, right? And pay taxes. If we're going to have to spend money on this stuff anyway, why not allow these expense that we're going to have to spend money on anyway to be viable business expense? Why not? It only makes sense. You're using your phone and I'm using my phone, but I get to put my phone on my taxes and the other person doesn't. That's not fair. So if we can just know this information, we can make almost the majority of what we spend money on to now become actual tax. They can be tools. So this money is not costing you to pay it. You hiring your kid and getting your kid a cell phone is not just a cell phone expense. Now your kid is someone that works in the business, and that's a viable business expense, right? Um, but we'll get into that here shortly, right? So there's the how. If you want, I know, we're talking about a business, right? Here's the how. So take a picture of this really quickly if you need to, so you can be able to say, okay, these are my direct actionables, the things that I should do, the next 6 steps that I should take towards opening my business. If I don't already have one, if I have one, these are the steps that I should take towards, basically getting some things in place so that I can be in order, right? Because there's nothing more important than order in business, right? So let's talk about what is it going to do? What's the point of opening a business and doing all this? It's going to open up deductions that create tax savings. It's tax season right now. When I'm talking to people every single day, when the team is talking to people every single day, they're asking, why is my refund low? How can I get more money? Why is my tax bill high? They're asking these questions. The first thing we ask them is, well, do you have a business? If they don't have a business, there's so many expenses that they're automatically losing out on. All right. So the first thing it's going to do by having a business, it's going to open up tax deductions, tax savings, more money on your taxes, possibly so. It's going to create a hedge against your tax liability. If every year you're someone that owes, you work a job, you pay a bunch of taxes, if you have having a business can possibly, that's why I put the asterisk there, can possibly, create a hedge against your tax liability, which means that it opens up a conversation. When you only have a W-2 income, we can't talk about any expense that you pay, right? Outside of some of the basics, like your mortgage interest. But the moment you say you have a business, it opens up a whole different conversation that we couldn't have unless you tell me that you're a business owner. It's like it opens up this secret door of endless tax deductions that you're now entitled to possibly take. All right. The next thing that having a business does, it allows you to work more but keep more. If I make $100 and you make $100, how fair is it that I get to keep maybe possibly all of my $100 and you have to give maybe 43%? You have to give 43 of your dollars away in taxes, and I don't have to give any away just because we both decided to work. We both decided to be hardworking people, but I chose to be a business owner and you didn't know the importance of being a business owner and how it could help you be able to keep maybe all of your $100 or 99 of your $100 or 90 of your $100 versus somebody snatching $43 out of your paycheck and you having no control, no choice, no say so, and can do nothing at all, right? So that's what I mean by saying it allows you to keep more, it allows you to make more, and you're working more, but then keep more. It can create almost a tax-free living if done right. Now, take it into consideration, I don't know everything, but I have learned just a little bit, and it allows you to be able to, you know, keep more of the money that you make when you understand the tax code and you understand that IRS says a business owner can deduct anything that they possibly want on their taxes if it's ordinary and necessary. I'm even talking about every piece of clothing that I put on my body. I'm trying to put my logo in it now. I'm trying to put my logo in my socks, my logo in my sheets, my logo on my pillow sheets. Well, it's there now. My logo on my robes, my logo on my floor mats, my logo on everything, my logo on any and everything possible. So that if I'm spending money on this mouse, if I'm spending money on these jeans, if I just slap my logo on these jeans that I love, then guess what? That now that's a legitimate tax deduction because that's a uniform versus if I spend money on these jeans and I decide to wear these cool jeans, but if I'm not a business owner and if my logo is in it, then guess what? All the money that I spent on clothes and shoes, none of it is tax deductible. But what happens if I go buy some Steve Madden tennis shoes and I decide that my logo is in it, and now these are branded tennis shoes, then guess what? Now those shoes are actually tax deductible. Now, I'm never telling you to abuse the tax law, but I am telling you that it is out there and it's going to open up tax deductions that would not be available for you to be able to help you get some of that money back. You're going to spend money on tons of stuff anyway. Why not, be able to use some of the money that you spend anyway on stuff and allow it to be tax deductions. And then the next thing I say is, what does it do? How does having a business, how does it benefit you? It allows you, it all goes back to having more tools. I'm trying to refrain from the word money because I like the idea of tools, right? So having a business, it allows you to work harder, right? But you're keeping 90 of that dollars instead of giving away 43 of those dollars. So you can bless more people, so that you can be able to be free to impact and give and take your family cool places and do whatever it is that you believe that you're called to do in this life versus you being confined and you can only do so little with your money because after they take their 43% out, then guess what? Then you have to spend the other, percentage on paying bills, right? And so we want to make sure that you understand these things so you can apply these things so that you can be able to dominate money. We believe the good word says, we're called to have dominion over all things in the land. The one thing, the most common thing that I've seen that most people struggle with is having dominion over their finances, over their money, right? So if we can understand it, we can make better decisions. So let's talk about some of the things that W-2 write-offs expense are allowed versus business owners are allowed. So understand if you're a W-2 individual and if you're a business owner, and some W-2 individuals have businesses too, so great. But I just want you to be aware of some of the things that you may be allowed to deduct versus not. So as a W-2 employee who lives in their home, who has no business, you can deduct the interest that you pay on your house, the taxes, gifts to charity, medical expense, gambling losses, and that's just about it. But take into consideration, even if you deduct the mortgage on your house, if you're like, yeah, somebody said buy a house, I'm gonna save some money. I just want to show you something really, really quick and how buying a house is not always a tax savings. And I have this conversation so often with so many of my clients, and they're very upset because they didn't know that this was true. So hopefully you can see my screen. Great, you can. So this is my client. He's married, filing joint, right? This is Mr. Brother TJ and his wife, Jamie, right? I'm going to say they own a house. So the first thing I'm going to say is they own a house, all right? So I'm going to go on here. I'm doing their taxes. Woo, woo. They own a house. They bought this $500,000 house. They paid $12,000 in taxes, all right? They paid $10,000 and they paid $12,000 in taxes, excuse me. They paid $10,000 in interest. All right. They gave to charity, right? They gave, I'm gonna say $2,000 to charity. They had some medical expense of I'm gonna say $2,000. They're like, yeah, I bought this house, I'm winning, I'm excited. Da 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 da. I click save. Even though they spent da, da, they spent $17,000 in deductions. It only increased their refund not even $1,000. So some people are like, yeah, I'm so excited. I'm buying a house. I'm about to save all this money. These people spent $17,000 and it gave them $1,000 tax deduction. $1,000. So, and we'll get into this here in a second, why I say, like, rent where you live and what you own, you should be renting out, right? That's another conversation. But this is a situation where it made a difference, but it made a very small difference. All right. Let me stop share and let me go back to my presentation. Da, 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 da. Share screen. There's that. Voila. All right. Where a business owner, when you're a business owner, these are some of the deductions that they have. They have business travel, they have meals, they have uniforms. Take into consideration a uniform is anything that you put your logo on, right? It could be the size of a quarter. Anything that you put your logo on is now a uniform. This scarf, if I put my logo in this scarf, now this scarf is a uniform. um, Uniforms, phone, utilities, vehicles, money that you pay your kids. My sister was really upset with me. They were going to Disney World, and my niece and nephew called me. They're like, Auntie Court, we're going to Disney World. I want some, can you loan us some spending money? And I said, I can't loan you any spending money, but you can come over here and work. I said, she's like, that's ridiculous. You don't give them anything. And I'm like, that's none of my business. I would love to pay them $150 for one day's worth of labor, but they will have to come over here and they will have to work. That's so mean. I don't understand. She was livid about it. Well, if I give away $300 to my niece and nephew, I can't deduct that on my taxes. So that's not wise. But if they just come and if they sweep up the floor and if they shred some papers and if they print some papers and if they take the trash out and they, text some clients because all kids know how to use phones nowadays, right? If I hire them for the day, then I can issue them an income form if I like or if I don't like, depending on the amount. And now that can be a viable business expense. Now, did I have them fill out a W-9 and, want to issue them an income form? I absolutely did. And my family was like, this is ridiculous. But it isn't. Because how often are we just helping family here and there? And all of that helping can eventually be something that hurts us. And we have to pay taxes on all that money, right? So I begin to recognize, oh, okay, cool. Because money is a tool. So if I can figure out how to use it, then me paying my niece this $300 versus giving it to them can benefit them and it can benefit me on my taxes. So I'm going to empower myself to make a better decision, right? We'll get into that a little bit further. So what I need you to know, some things that I need you to know, I need you to know is buying and deducting a house does not create a guaranteed tax savings every single time you purchase. Every year, it does not guarantee a savings, and so I want you to be mindful of that. Gifts to charity do not guarantee a tax savings. I've had so many clients bring me all of their gifts to charity. I allow, the creator God to bless it, but don't expect for IRS or Uncle Sam to bless your donations because you can spend all that time knowing that, yes, I'm about to save some money because I donated all this furniture and all this stuff. And then it does nothing for your taxes. And then you're really, really upset because you needed that tax deduction. They said donate. I had a lady that donated a whole vehicle that worked. And she just knew it was going to create a tax savings, and it didn't create a tax savings at all. I told her she would have been better off selling the vehicle. All work related expenses not deductible. I've had so many client conversations with taxpayers over the years, and they're like, man, my job has me go here and there and I work from home. Can I deduct my expense now because I'm working from home? So I mean, I have a home office and they're giving me a rundown of all this expense that they have. And I'm like, man, I don't want to cut them off, but it's not going to save them any money on your taxes. So I listen and I'm like, well, are you a business owner? Like, do you do business at all? No, I just work. I work from home. No, 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 no. Work from home expenses not tax deductible. They suspended that when Donald Trump was in office. They suspended that tax law until 2025. So he basically came into office and he reset the tax law to extremely benefit the business owner. Now, do we even know if it'll go back? We don't know if it'll go back. Work related expense can be deductible if you live in one of 8 states, but it's very, very minimum. It'll make it very, very little of a difference. All right. The next thing I want to share with you is higher incomes create lower refunds. I'm going to give you an illustration about how unfair this tax system is. And that's why I call this the game of Monopoly, because if you understand the game, it's like the first time you play Monopoly, you're excited, right? You just want to play and maybe you lose. But the moment you understand the strategy after you play it one, two, three, you get older and you begin to understand, okay, if I buy property, okay, if I put, real estate on this property, you begin to understand the rules of the game, right? And then it allows you to win. It's the same thing with taxes and money. If you can understand exactly how it works, then you can set it up to work for you versus versus it working against you. Like every year I work hard, I make all this money, but I didn't see any of this money on my W-2. Like, where is this money at? That's not fair. I know what that feels like, and I see it time and time again. So I want to share this that higher incomes create lower refunds. The tax system was designed to benefit the business owner first and the lower class second. The tax system was not set up to benefit anybody that makes more than, I'm going to say, about $35,000 a year. What do you mean by that, Cortney? What I mean by that is this: if you're a business owner and you come and you sit down with me, almost any and everything that you tell me you spent money on, if if you deem it as a business owner ordinary and necessary, and you can justify it, right, by meeting these five tests, the who, the what, the when, the where, the why, and the how, then you can put it on your taxes. So that means everything. I'm talking everything that you spend money on. Section code 162A says a business owner can write off anything. Is there any limitation to the word anything? There isn't. Anything that they deem ordinary and necessary. Anything. So that means you come in here and you made $1 million. Well, if you have $1 million worth of spendings, you spent $1 million on whatever. You hired your kids, you hired everybody, you hired your dad because you got tired of giving his lazy tail some money. Right? Like, no, dad, I'm not giving you any money anymore. But what you can do is you can come work for me and I'll pay you. I'm not just giving you any money. A business owner can deduct anything, where somebody that is just a good person and they're working their job and they're helping their family and they're just, they're the one that makes the most in the family and everybody leans on them, but they have a W-2. It's bona fide discrimination if I had to, classify it. You don't get to deduct any of those expense. So much automatically, the conversation of expense is almost off the table. It's like there's no point of talking about it outside of the interest that you paid on your house, the taxes, right? Your gambling losses up to what you won, medical and dental, right? And then charitable contributions overall. Some work related expense, very, very little. All right. The next thing I want to cover is the more money you make, the higher tax rate you pay. All right. Now, the solution, because I'm telling you all this, but what's the solution? This is just a bunch of information, and I don't want to overwhelm you. I do want to propose a solution. The solution is W-2 employees cannot deduct any meals at all, but business owners can. What am I telling you? To open a business, because it opens up a whirlwind of deductions that allow you to be able to keep more of the money that you make that's not going to bills. Now, I'm never telling you to open up a business to only utilize tax deductions and never plan to ever do business. Absolutely not. But I am telling you to open up a business because it opens up, a whirlwind of tax deductions. Owning a business allows you to drive down your tax liability. So when somebody comes in and they made $60,000 and they didn't pay any taxes as a W-2 because they forgot to mark, and change it from exempt, then there's nothing that can be done. If they didn't buy solar panels, if they didn't if they didn't buy an electric vehicle, if they didn't go to school or their dependents go to school, there's almost nothing that can be done for them. However, the moment somebody comes in and they have a 1099 and they made that same $60,000, guess what? We can have a conversation all evening talking about what they spent money on throughout the year that allow them to make that money so that they can drive down their tax liability, right? So one income form, it could be the same amount of income. One income form could make so much of a difference, right? So I am telling you to go out and start a business for the sake of, utilizing write-offs so that we could have more of our tools, more of our money that we work for. I am telling you that this is the game of Monopoly, and understanding the tax system can allow you to utilize it for your benefit. right? It makes absolute sense. If not, we're working really hard, exchanging so much of our time for dollars, and we never get to see any of it. It's like you get a dollar and you fold it in four, and you recognize almost off the muscle, 1/4 of that dollar is automatically going to Medicare. Another fourth of that dollar is going to Social Security. Another fourth of that dollar is going to Medicare. Then you have the rest to pay bills on. So then we really are living off of like 25% of what we make because we don't understand how to be able to get back some of that money that we work really, really, really hard from, that we exchange time away from our kids for, that we miss out on cheerleading practice, right? We miss out on all those valuable moments because we're paying all this money out, right? Um, so what this has created, so what I'll say is this is, basically almost every piece of article that I put on my body is now, a tax deduction. I even had like the lady come over and put my logo in my pajamas. I'm like, listen, I've had these pajamas. I bought them. They were cool. They were cute. Like they're, thermals, long sleeve. I wanted to make sure they're tax deductible. If I'm going to put them on, I need to make sure I utilize that. Guess what? Now, as well, the food that I spend money on. If I'm going to eat, I'm always going to eat with somebody that's maybe on my team, right? Because now we're going to talk about business over the course of that meeting. And now that meeting is considered a business meal, right? And we're going to be able to utilize that deduction. Now, am I ever telling you to abuse it? I'm 100% not. But I am telling you, as business owners that are serious to building, an amazing life and being able to have dominion and having as many tools as possible, your lunch meetings respectfully should possibly be a little bit about business. What harm is it going to do? If you eat and you don't talk about business, then it's just money in the trash and money down the toilet. But the moment you begin to put conversation about business with that meal, guess what? You can deduct it on your taxes and save money. If not, you're either eating your money and you're flushing it down the drain, or you're eating your money and you're able to recycle that money. And then it makes a whole difference on your taxes. So it's not like you ate the money and it just went out the door, right? The phone that you're on should be, basically something that's in your name. I'm just driving this point in again. And then money to loved ones. Respectfully, any and everyone that I give money to now, if it's not, of course, me, don't making a donation to charity, or, then anyone that does that needs any money, before I would get calls, can you help me with this? Can you help me with this? Respectfully, I can't help you with anything, but I can find something for you to do in my house, for you to be able to earn a wage so you can be able to get what you need. My baseboards need clean. My car needs washed. These papers need shredded. Something needs done in my house. Something needs done in my life. So I begin to look at, okay, if this money is a tool, then how can I empower this person? How can I benefit them, help them with what needs they have, but then benefit myself as well? So they may get income forms at the end of the year. And now they have 1099s that they have to file, that they'll itemize expense off. But we just created a win-win situation for both parties. So I'm not taking the L for helping somebody. All right. So what you need to know is this. I think this is one of the ways that I drive the point home to some of the taxpayers that I speak with how our tax system really works. And I call it the game of Monopoly, right? Just understanding how to win. Take into consideration you're going to your favorite restaurant. You pull up in a 1901 Ford Focus. They're like, oh, they're driving a 1901 and it's 2024. We're only going to charge you $5 for that number one with cheese and, a lemonade. But then take into consideration, life has gotten kind of good. You pull up next month and now you got a new car. You're driving a Nissan Altima. You got fresh, nice red hubcaps on it, and you are riding clean like you are so proud. You have upgraded. You are now in a Nissan Altima, and those hubcaps are red. Like you pull up, and like the car is waxed. You're looking all spiffy, and they're like, "Oh, okay, they're okay. It's brother TJ pulling up now. Brother TJ is in a Nissan Altima. We're gonna charge him $15 for his number one." The next month rolls around, right? This is just March now. We're 3 months in. Your income has went up. So now you're in a Lexus. You're in a pearl white Lexus. It's nice, leather seats, peanut butter inside. You are spiffy. Music is bumping. They see you coming. They're like, Brother TJ is pulled up again. Brother TJ is making more money. We're going to charge him $35 for that same number one because his income went up and they can tell based off of what he drives. I'm just illustrating how our tax system is set up based off of what you make. It's the same exact thing, the same exact income. They're going to charge you a higher rate. Think about how fair that would be if you pull up in the drive-through and you're driving a Nissan Altima and they charge you $10 or $15, and then the car behind you is driving, that Ford Focus, and they're paying $5, and you got 3 mouths to feed. They literally determine how much they're going to charge you in taxes based off of how much you make. And don't come pulling up in this BMW now because you're paying $50 for a number one. You're the same person, same income forms. This is how our tax system is set up. The more money you make, the more they charge you. There's nothing that you can do about it other than understand it. Don't say, well, I only want to make a little bit of money. Nope, because you won't have any tools. Then you'll be in prison and you'll be confined to the quality of life that you live and the experiences that you get to have. I just want you to be aware of this. So if you're aware of this, then you can be able to make better decisions. So you can be able to say, okay, great. I know that I have big plans in life and I'm going to take all this information that I learned and I'm going to do some digital real estate. I'm going to, and I'm going to make a bunch of money, but I want to be able to make sure that I'm not being overcharged because I make more money. I want to be able to make sure that I'm able to experience more of this money versus give it away just because I'm making more money. This is how our tax system is set up. So we must learn this so that we can be ahead of it. If not, respectfully, you're going to find that you're always in this rat race because inflation is bound to happen. The cost of living, the cost of gas, the cost of milk, the cost of everything is going to go up. So we have to be the ones to decide I'm going to drive my income up just as hard as fast as inflation is happening so that I can be able to make sure that I'm not in prison. I'm not able to, have to stay in this environment, this living environment, and never be able to, experience a better quality of life because I don't know how to create money. And there's no better person to learn from than Brother Ben. There's so much I have not been able to learn from him because respectfully, I'm still working really hard in my practice, serving my clients, right? I'm back in here again this year. It's another conversation for another day. So some of the takeaways that I want you to be able to make sure is make sure you consider renting where you live. And they say rent out what you own, right? So why is that important? There was a year where I had paid I file as a single taxpayer. So as a single taxpayer, IRS gives me about a $13,000 tax break. There was a year where I had paid, I'm going to say $10,000 in taxes and interest. And it did nothing for my tax savings. So I'm like, man, I paid all this taxes and interest. I paid $10,000. You're telling me because I didn't spend $3,000 that this $10,000 that I paid is doing nothing at all, not zero. So the best thing that I could is that next year I moved out of my property. I moved renters in my property. And I said, bet, if I'm going to own this house and I'm going to pay all this interest, I need to know that this interest that I'm paying every single month. First of all, renters are going to be paying this interest. But second to that, I need to be able to make sure that this interest that's being paid and these taxes are going to help me save money because the banks are wealthy enough. So what did I do? I moved out of my property. I rented it out. So that allowed all of the repairs that I did on my house to now be something that I can put on my taxes and save money. Because if you're living in your house and the roof begins to leak, guess what? You can't put that on your taxes. Poor you. You have to get a new AC unit because the AC goes out and you live in that house. You can't put that on your taxes. You have to get new carpet. You pull up the carpet to build hardwood floors because the carpet is it's beat up. You can't put that on your taxes. But the moment I actually decide to move out of that house and put somebody else in it, then that AC that I have to put in is now something I can put on my taxes and save money. That, the new lighting fixtures that I want to put in, pulling up the carpet Now that's something that I can have on my taxes. Absolutely. I'm like, this doesn't make sense. So you guys told us that buying a house helps us save money. I was so excited when I bought it. I just knew I was winning. I'm following all the rules. Yes, buddy. And it didn't work for me. And I got tired of giving away $10,000 one year in interest, $10,000 2 years. That's $20,000 in 2 years. $30,000 in 3 years. That's a lot of money. At that time period, I didn't have that saved. So I'm giving all this money away and then I'm turning around. This doesn't make sense. So I begin to say, whoa, 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 whoa. Living in this house at this time period is not working for me. It's not benefiting my taxes. I'm giving away money and I'm never getting it back. As a business owner, I can't afford to do that. And so I made some different decisions, right, that allowed me to be able to say, okay, great. And I built a tax strategy around what I wanted to do. I moved somewhere else where it made more sense numerically so that I can be able to make sure I was getting some of this money that I was paying back. So if I'm making $100,000, I'm not paying a ton of money in taxes because I'm utilizing IRS code section code 162A that says I can deduct anything on my taxes that is ordinary and necessary that meets the who, what, when, where, and why, and how tax code. I'm going to utilize that. It's so important. And I'm going to show you an illustration as well. The next thing I want you to do is when you get to the end of your day, if you already have your W-2s, phenomenal. I want you to take a look at what's in box one. Take a look at what's in box one, and I want you to take a look at what's in box two. Box two on your W-2, before you just hand it over, I need you to look at it. I need you to look at what's in that box right there. In box two, it's going to be called your federal withholdings. That's the money that you pay to IRS. So when you're getting your taxes done, I know you're like, man, they're taking out all these taxes. IRS will only pay you back what you paid in federal taxes, period, point blank. So all those other taxes you pay, they're for when you get older, when you retire, all that other stuff, Social Security and to build the roads and blah, 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 right? The only thing that they'll possibly refund you back is what's in box two. And it's up to a certain portion of that, right? I want you to look at how much you paid in your box two of your W-2 and identify, once you get your taxes done, how much are they giving you back? Are you getting all of it back? Are you getting some of it back? Are you getting none of it back? How much did you pay? Then I need you to begin to identify, times that by 2, times that by 3, times that by 10. Then I need you to begin to calculate, okay, how much federal withholdings have I gave away over the next, or will I give away over the next 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? And then ask yourself, are you okay with that? I have found that so many taxpayers don't have $10,000 in their savings account, but they're giving away all this money in taxes. And I'm like, man, what if there was just somewhat of a small tax strategy circled around what some of their, what some of their expense could be so that they can begin to get some of that money back. Now, again, this is not a conversation that we can have at all if you're not a business owner, but it is a conversation that can be had in the event that you are. All right. The next thing I'm going to say is I don't believe that we should allow money to stress us. This money thing, the reason why I'm saying that is because I sit in this seat and we talk to so many people every single year. And money is the thing that drives people to lose their minds, to want to take their lives, to want to, not, be around, to not want to have families. They cause stress, divorce, depression, bankruptcy. Money causes so many problems. And so I just began to recognize, and this is the conversation that I have with every single one of my clients. Like, my spouse lost their job. I just don't know what to do. I took a pay cut. I don't know what to do. I'm losing my mind. So often our money and our title and everything is wrapped up in what we do. And remember, money was only meant to be a tool. It was only meant to be a tool. And if it's not a tool, it's because it's a prison to you. So how can you get out of this place? How can you, right now, your money is either a tool to you or a prison to you. So if money is currently a prison to you, meaning you're confined, you have to be at work when you don't want to be at work. You're not able to do and have the freedom that you want, then paying more attention to what Brother Ben teaches and, and owning the digital real estate space and identifying what your thing is going to be so paramount so you can have more tools. If not, money will forever be, a prison. And it's like you're playing the game of Monopoly. you will continue to feel like you just can't get ahead. You're losing. You're working so hard to pay all this money and it doesn't feel good. And you're just on this perpetuous cycle of just working and just paying bills and it just doesn't feel good. And respectfully, I don't think that's called to be our lives. I believe we're called to have dominion over our lives and money and all that. So without further ado, there's so much more that I created, but I've been talking for almost an hour now. So I'm going to pause um, because I want to open up for questions and any answers. I could have talked to you guys about so many other things, but I don't want to overwhelm you with this information. So I'll pause and I'll answer any questions that you may have. I think that's what takes place right now, right, Brother Ben?
Yes,
Or Nani,
ma'am.
whoever of the two are on, to be able to answer any questions you guys may have.
Yes, ma'am. If you guys have a question, press the number 3 in the comment section, and then we'll call you one by one. Sister Shalon.
Okay. Hi there, Courtney. I've seen videos of you. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. I love your energy. I love what you give us. I appreciate you. Thank you. Okay. When you mentioned about renting out your home, okay, so does one have to completely move out of their house, or is it possible to rent out rooms in your home, making them workshops, like teaching how
A
to
hun-
sew, teaching how to can, teaching how to do wood shop? Can that be done with you
a
living in
hundred
your home?
percent. Yes, you can. You can absolutely rent out a portion of your home, but the moment you rent out a portion of your home, it has to be exclusively used for business, which means you can't have a bed in there and your son sleeps in the room in the night and then you use it during the day. Now, that room needs to be a designated space for business. Where if I always say it like it needs to pass the test of the eye. So if IRS were to see it, they're like, yep, it's obvious that this is not little Johnny's closet and the room where we're doing something else. It's obvious that this is a workspace, so you can 100% live there and do bit and have a portion of your house. The test is it has to be exclusively used for business, that designated space. Make sense?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Awesome. Yes, thank you.
Sister Brianna.
Assalamu alaikum. Um, my question is, I know that, or so I think, when you have an LLC, you have up until the first 3 years for loss, but you can still get back write-offs. Like whenever I go out to lunch, I usually write on the back of my receipt like who I was with, what we talked about, XYZ. So can you still get a significant refund if you're in those first 3 years of loss? Does that make sense?
Sure. So I think I understand your question, and so I'm going to try and say it how I think, and then if I'm wrong, will you correct me? Okay, very good. So you can go as far as back as you like to file your taxes. The 3-year rule is you can you can only get a refund for up to the past 3 years. So sometimes people don't file their taxes and they go back and they say, I want to file the past 3 years. If you file 3 years later, then IRS is going to give you a refund if you're due a refund. If you file 4 years worth of taxes and you were supposed to get a refund here, they will not give you a refund for this year because you passed that threshold. So basically, you can file taxes. So the 3-year rule, I believe, it's a little bit commingled with the understanding. They'll give you a refund that's due to you if you have one, if you're filing 3 years back. Anything outside of 3 years back, then you will not get the refund. If anything, it'll just go towards, your tax bill if you happen to have a tax bill. That's the 3-year rule. So that's the first part of your question. And then the second part of your question, can you say it again?
Yes, within those 3 years, because I thought it was like they give you 3 years of loss until they start wondering like, hey, what are you doing? Why aren't you making money with your business? Right? But can you still get a significant amount of money back? Because just like I work from home, I have a business, and I write off my utilities, phone, part of my rent, XYZ, but since I already paid 100% of my rent, will they still give me back some of it?
Got it. So the first thing is this is how refunds work is it's just like if I buy this shirt, right? If I buy this shirt from Walmart and then I return it, then they're only going to refund me whatever I spent on this shirt. So if throughout the year as a business owner you didn't pay in any taxes, then you're not going to get a refund unless you have a child on your tax or some sort of credit. So if you're totally a business owner and you paid in no taxes throughout the year and you don't have a child on your taxes, then you deducting the expense, those indirect expense that you said, right? Like the utilities and X, Y, and Z, that may help you break even, whereby all of the money that you made throughout the year, you're not actually paying taxes on it because your write-offs basically did a wash. So then you don't owe anything at all. Does that make sense? So deducting expense doesn't necessarily give you a refund. It could allow that $100,000 that you made throughout the year for you to maybe have to pay no taxes on it, or instead of you paying $10,000 taxes, you end up paying 3,000, 2,000, 1,000, 7, a far less amount, but it doesn't necessarily give you a refund unless there are other factors on your tax return. Does that make sense?
It does. Thank you very much.
Okay, yay, thank you.
All right, Brother Michael.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Here we go.
Salam.
Good day to you all, and I appreciate this call and the guest. I have a two-part question. One is, what is the liability difference between LLC entities and non-LLC entities? What's the liability difference? And two, where do I find the authority that makes me or liable to income tax? Thank you. That's all I.
Yes, awesome, grateful. So basically the liability difference. So I'm no tax attorney, right? So I'm just going to give you general knowledge of what I understand. As a limited liability company, there is a level of protection if done correctly. Because if you come into my house and you fall, then you can't sue Brother Ben because Brother Ben is a different entity. You can't than Cortney, right? So basically, if your LLC is set up properly, it separates you from your entity. If you guys sue Brother, not you guys, I won't use that example, but does that make sense? So basically, there's the difference. Is having an
Yes,
LLC
ma'am.
set up properly, it separates you from your entity. So that means if they wanted to sue the LLC and all of its assets are at risk, and Cortney's assets are not at risk. But that means the LLC has to be done and set up properly. That's the first thing with the liability difference. Does that answer your question?
Yes, ma'am.
And the second part of your question, tell me.
The second part is where do I find the authority that makes me liable to income tax?
I don't understand that question.
Meaning you reference the Internal Revenue Code. I'm just curious, like yourself, I don't practice law and I don't give legal advice. I just study the historical record, actual facts, and things that are self-evident. So I have looked myself to try to determine what makes me liable to pay income tax in particular, local, state, and federal income tax, not sales tax, but income tax. And sister, I haven't been able to find it.
That's right. It's totally voluntary. When you fill out those W-4s, and that's a different conversation for a
Bless your
different
heart.
day. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
100%. When you fill out those W-4s and you fill out those W-9s, then you're voluntary saying, hey, I'm signing up.
Facts.
But without you actually doing that, then it's a total voluntary system.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Sister, is it Gwendolyn? I say that right this time? You off mute, but I don't hear you saying anything. Yeah, I don't know. I see you coming off mute, but I don't hear anything. Unless it's just me.
I don't hear anything either.
Okay, maybe you may have to type it in the chat because we don't hear you. Let's go to Sister Randisha. Wait, hold on. Sister Regina. What do you mean, Sister Randisha?
Oh no, I was basically stating I'm asking a question for her.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Hey, buddy,
Yes, sir.
I gotta
So
go pick this knucklehead up from school and take him
Okay,
home.
go pick old brother Knucklehead up. Go ahead.
yes, sir. So Sister Regina asks, if I am an independent contractor, as far as taxes are concerned, will that count as being a business owner, or is there something I can do to go ahead and establish the work that I'm doing as an independent contractor as a business?
Hmm. So an independent contractor is a business owner. They're deemed as a sole proprietor. So there's LLCs, there's corporations. So how IRS classifies you is a sole proprietor. But yes, you can deduct expense as an independent contractor, and you are considered a business owner, and that will go on Form Schedule C. Does that answer your question?
The question wasn't for me, ma'am, but I'm pretty sure that it probably answered her question. And then we have one more. We have Sister Mo. She said, can you give some examples of proper and improper setup of a corporation?
Sure. These are good questions. Thank you. Proper, improper. So proper would be so an entity, and again, I'm no tax attorney, right? And formation, like legally, is not my thing, but some of the most common things I'll just say that I see is this: is an individual is they're a single member LLC, but their money goes into their personal bank account. The moment you have personal funds go into a business account, the moment you have your business funds go into a personal account, now you're commingling funds and you're piercing the corporate veil. Okay. The moment you open a bank account, and you sign your name. Anytime you sign on behalf of your entity, you should be signing your name, comma, title. Anytime you have a business, you're an LLC, and you sign your name specifically without putting comma, your title, managing member, because as LLCs, you are a managing member or a managing member, you're a member, then basically you're violating the corporate veil. So those are just some of the most common things, is when you are not signing appropriately, when you're not signing correctly, when you're commingling funds. That's a perfect way to actually violate the corporate veil, and that's a perfect example of an improper structure. Proper would be okay. Everything is in place categorically. When someone opens our wallet, they're going to see our ID card with our name. It's going to show all of our credit cards. Our name is going to be exactly the same. Everything that's lined up with our taxes, everything that we're doing for our business, the name should be exactly the same. Coach Cortney LLC, Coach Court, on all of my cards, on how I sign. Everything needs to categorically line up. So if I'm deducting any expense on my taxes, all of the bills that I'm deducting on my taxes line up, and they even say Cortney, Coach Cortney LLC. I'm signing accordingly, right? My personal expense and my business expense are totally held and managed separately, so that they're actually treated as, two different entities for once versus once. The moment you actually begin to compromise even one, then you're compromising the corporate veil, and that can cause you to, have an issue. So proper is just like, think about all names need to line up, right? In every single way. Anytime you're signing on behalf of your entity, you want to be signing your name, comma, title every single time. And then versus improper, anytime you compromise, you put your name, you're signing, you operate on behalf of your business, and you only sign your name, you use anything from your personal account, then basically that can compromise it. Those are some of the most common ways that I see. Does that help? Does that answer? Sister?
Hopefully it
Yes,
does.
ma'am.
All right, let's go to I saw some. Okay, yeah. I think Sister Brianna put it 3, so let's put her back in the second round queue. Let's go to Sister Yolanda.
Assalamualaikum. I
Alaikum.
had put in the chat can you explain the difference between having an LLC versus a trust when it comes to taxes?
Got it. Very good. So I know nothing about trust. That's something I'm planning to learn about. Someone on my team will be equipping me. So I can't give you much information in and around that. So I don't want to communicate on it. I try not to talk about things I'm an absolute master of. I apologize.
Yes, ma'am. No problem. Thank you for your answer.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to Sister Talia.
Assalamu alaikum. This is Sister Twanisa. I was asking, when you have a LLC, and would you be jeopardized by using your name? Let's just say your name is the name of the business. Would they be able to sue you if you use your name? Because that was of interest to me. I had different businesses, but I want to make sure that if I name something underneath my name or my daughter's name, that we will not be personally responsible underneath the LLC.
Got it. So what I'll say is this is, can they, again, I'm no attorney, so I don't want to tell you what they can and they can't do. But what I'll say is this is that what I understand to be the importance of an LLC is separating me from my business. So if I'm separating me from my business, then I don't want to create a business that's known to the public and I'm using my name. The whole point is to say, hey, this over here is Cortney is private. Keep her private, keep her protected. So I would want to not, my consultant and my infrastructure team, they always say avoid using names because you want to basically separate yourself as much as possible from your entity, right? So that when they search your name, your business is not coming up. You want them to have to do a little bit of work to, be able to connect the two dots. So that's what my team has advised us of, and that's kind of the strategy that we go with. Depending on the level of infrastructure and what's in place, I'm sure if your infrastructure is in place and it's solid enough, then, sometimes it's really, really hard to be able to pierce the corporate veil. But as small business owners, sometimes we don't have an infrastructure team and someone to help us with making sure we're in compliance on all angles. Then that's when I think it's most important to possibly consider just that clear line of demarcation and not using a personal name, because you're saying, hey, I'm separate from, but you use your name, to say I'm separate from. So then, if the right attorney and the right team want to do digging and tie you to it, it may be easier for them to. Does that make sense, sister?
Yes, it makes sense, unfortunately, but it makes sense.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
let's go to Brother Will.
Sorry about that. I'm sorry.
We can barely hear you. Sound like you're under the water.
Give me 1 second.
You're on that Bluetooth, ain't you?
Yeah. Peace, family. Okay, so my question was, when you don't pay your income tax, will you still be able to get a refund?
Tell me about how you're structured.
Well, earlier you were talking about when you're another brother asked a question, and he was asking about the income tax and how it's voluntarily, or it's basically a voluntary thing that we pay. My question was, to that point, if you don't pay your income tax for your LLC, would you still be able to get a refund?
Got it. So if you don't pay your income tax, so LLCs are pass-through entities, so they generally don't pay taxes unless you're voluntarily paying quarterly taxes. So the first thing is, if your LLC decides to pay quarterly taxes, then if you overpay in taxes, then yes, you can get a refund, but you would only know that you're deemed a refund if you actually file taxes and the calculations are done and they're able to determine how much you overpaid.
Yes, ma'am.
So you have to file. Yes. Did I answer your question?
Yes, ma'am. That's a perfect answer. Thank you so much.
Okay. Very welcome.
All right, Brother Samuel.
Yes, sir. Greetings, my sister. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
My question would be, since I don't have an LLC or anything but if I get that, is there any app that would help keep, like when you go out to dinner with your client, it's a business trip, right? that will keep that track of that kind of stuff, so it automatically be filing that some kind of way to categorize. So at the end of the year, you want to put all this stuff together, or there's such a book or something that if you get this, these are you know, you said necessary and whatever, but if these are the things that you should actually do first, so to get the most bang out your buck when it comes to doing this thing, you know, something of that sort. I guess it's a 2-part question.
Yes, very good. Yes. So first, thank you for asking the question. It's a good one. So yes, there are multiple apps. I like to kind of use one app and where everything is housed. So the app that we use is QuickBooks. So QuickBooks, and Brother Ben may have an affiliate link if y'all are going to use it, because I know he's a user of QuickBooks. We use it. But QuickBooks has an app in there, and it allows you to be able to calculate mileage. It allows you to be able to, you know, reconcile expense and do everything from your phone 100%. Yes, there is one. And then it allows you to be able to go through and classify personal, business, et cetera, et cetera.
Beautiful.
And then what was the second part of your question?
The second question was, like, for someone that's new to this, like you talked about, if you get an LLC, your rent, these expenses, your utilities should be a part of. There are certain things that, like basic, you should have these. If there's some kind of guide that say, hey, when you set this up, make sure you got this. Of course, there are some more things that may be deemed necessary, and you know, but these are things you should have, like a how-to guide to really setting this thing up, so we can just have something to just look at.
Like a checklist.
Yes.
Yeah, there is a checklist that I have. Maybe I can get it to Brother Ben so he can get it to you all. But I do have a checklist of some of the expense that you got that are like the automatic 100%. These are things that you should automatically shift over. It was some of the ones that I covered, right? Like your cell phone, your utility bill, your internet, right? Those are some of the automatic. If you use your vehicle, even your vehicle insurance can be shifted over as well. Those are just some of the common I think of off the top of my head. I do want to make sure that I clear this up. You don't have to be an LLC to be a business owner. That's one of a structure. That's one of the structures. You can be a sole proprietor, which is an individual that operates under their social. So an individual that receives a 1099, you know, an individual that doesn't receive a 1099, but they do business. They do photography, they do something. If you're operating under your social and you're transacting business, then you are a business owner. What makes you a business owner is you transacting business. What your structure is second to that. So if you, the moment you transact business, sell goods, you know, offer products, then you are automatically a business owner and you can utilize expense. Now, having that structure, I'm so sorry, brother.
I said, wow.
Yes, but having that structure is just a second level of order. It's you actually getting order. You're saying, okay, I'm taking my business serious. I've actually got my business. I'm getting my business registered. The state sees it. IRS sees it. You could always just do a DBA. You don't have to necessarily do, you know, an LLC, especially because they have some of those new filing requirements, right? Where if you don't file that BOI, it can be up to 2 years jail time and, you know, a $500 penalty per day. So I'm not saying you have to be an LLC. That's just one of the most common structures that are out there. But the moment you transact business, you can become a business owner, and you could take a more informal route, which is, you know, going down to your local tax county office or your tax assessor's office and getting a DBA. My name is Samuel X. Clark, and I'm doing business as this name. And that means that your name, now you're operating whatever your business name is, and you're identified as a business owner. So that's an LLC is a common route, but it's not the only. You can operate as a sole proprietor under your social as Samuel X. Clark, doing business as whatever, you know, Samuel Clark Enterprise. And then, you know, and that's an option as well. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you.
All right. Sister Gwendolyn says, my question is, do you need a lawyer to get an LLC or can you do it yourself?
Yes, very good question. So you don't need a lawyer to do an LLC. I was writing down the notes and I lost myself for a second, but you don't need a lawyer. I just think you need a fundamental understanding of what the form is asking. I'll have to speak with Brother Ben because I have something that maybe he can share with you guys, or we can get that figured out. We break down what's on the LLC formation document so you can be able to understand. Now, so often people hire companies like LegalZoom to set up their entities because they're thinking that they have to and you don't. If you have an understanding, it's really asking, what's your name? What's the name of your business? Where will your business be registered? Who is your registered agent? The responsible party that's going to accept legal correspondence on behalf of your business. Who are the individuals that are the entities that will be listed on your business? Who's the organizer, the person that's doing the paperwork right now? With that understanding, you can go out and actually form your entity. But the harder part is the reason why some people consult counsel or have individuals like lawyers or a team, set up their LLC is because they want the understanding of what else is required of them when they make that first step. It's no good if you just make step A, and if you don't know what Z is, what your compliance responsibilities are, what your filing responsibilities are, everything else that comes with it. So often, individuals hire attorneys to do that, when in fact they don't have to. They just need to have an understanding. And that is something that, that you can do on your own, or you can always hire counsel. It's something we help with as well.
I told y'all. Didn't I tell y'all? I told y'all. Y'all don't want to believe me. No, but somebody on YouTube said, Brother Ben, where can we get this information? You can get this information by being a part of the Power Call. So join the Power Call app, www.thepowercall.net, www.thepowercall.net. And whenever she shares the resource with me, I will share it over with you guys. We're going to take two more questions. We got Sister Brianna.
Yes, thank you very much. First off, thank you, Cortney, for coming. And thank you, Brother Van X, for having this, right? Working in the morning, so I can't really hop on every day, but it's always amazing to have this. Okay, one of my questions is, I filed my taxes with a agency, but they only did my Uber Eats, that type of work, and they didn't add my business. Is it even worth the amendment?
What type of business do you? How is your business structured? Are you a sole proprietor?
It's because it's network marketing, right? So it's like, I know that I own that part, but I don't have the LLC though. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Did you make money? Did you make money in your business? Did you spend money? If you made money in your business and you spent money, then it makes sense. If you did not make money, if you did not spend money in your business, then you don't have a requirement to, if you're not, like a formal structure.
Okay, I did make money. I did spend money. Yes, no, I did not apply for LLC though. So I think that's called, I don't know what it's called.
Sole proprietor?
Is it worth the amendment? Right, sole proprietor. Is it worth it?
So I'm gonna give you information. I'm gonna give you tax rules, right? Tax law, and then I'll allow you to make an informed decision. The moment you make money in a business, does IRS want you to file that income and that expense? Yes, right? They 100% want you to. Does it make a difference? The make is going to be based on what your tax filing was. So what type of, what's on your tax filing in totality would determine if it's going to make a difference or not. That's if you have kids, if you pay taxes, if you ended up with a tax bill. There are many factors to determine if it will make a difference. So I can't answer that without seeing. But if there were taxes that you paid in and you didn't get all of those back, then it could make a difference. Does IRS want you to? 100%. But if it'll make a difference, that's going to be based on how much income you made, how much expense you made. If your expense exceeded your income, then it can positively make a difference and allow you to get more of your taxes back or a greater refund. If your income was greater than your expense, then it could possibly cause you to have to owe a balance or get less money back than you were getting back. Does that answer your question?
It does, thank you. And yeah, when you have that link, send it, because I want you on my team. Like I want the right people doing it, because the wrong people they mess up everything. Okay, thank you.
Well, y'all stick around. Okay, and then the last one is Dr. K. Dr. K.
I'm here. Assalamu alaikum. Okay, so I don't want to repeat the question, but I just want clarity. So we have an LLC, and we've had an LLC for 3 years, well, going on 4 years. And my husband actually we have a trucking company. He's actually been running his truck under his own EIN number for probably almost 25 years. We just recently, 4 years ago, went on an LLC. You said something about if you have an LLC, you don't have to pay income taxes. Is that what you said?
Oh, no. Okay, yes.
Oh.
So yes.
Okay.
So I wasn't clear, so forgive me. So LLCs are pass-through entities, which means that basically whatever the business made or lost, it's passed down. First off, it's passed down to their actual managing members, but that's based on the type of LLC that you have. So the first thing I want to ask you is this. Are you a single member LLC or a multi-member? Is there one person listed on your LLC or multiple?
One.
Okay, so if you're a single member LLC, that means you file your business taxes with your personal taxes. So the pass-through happens all on one return. So it's a little bit different. But yes, you do have to pay income tax. It's just a little less aggressive. So to answer your question, yes, you do pay income tax, but you're filing as a single member LLC, so it goes on a Schedule C, so it goes with your personal taxes. So it's going to be a little bit different from the multi-member. But yes, you do pay income tax. You pay federal tax on that. Yes, you do.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Now, Sister Cortney, if you can put in the comment section or tell us where can they go to sign up for you to help them, for your team to help them. I want y'all to overwhelm her business. I want her to say, Brother Ben, tell them to stop signing up. Tell them, hey, we can't handle it right now. I want y'all to just go flood the gates, okay, with this free information that she gave us. And some of y'all know her because she's actually has a whole look curriculum she's given us inside of the power call. So some of y'all have actually seen her already through the game that she gave us, through the curriculum she made about the money, I forgot what we called it, mastering your money, something like that. So y'all know she knows what she's talking about. So where can we go to sign up to have, I don't know if it's consultation, so you can be their tax preparer. I don't know what it is. So tell us where can we go to get help?
Yes, but can I share this one thing that I forgot to share that's so important? So any LLC or corporate structure, maybe you're a corporation, a selected entity, there is a requirement that BOI, the Beneficiary Owners Information Report, you have to file this report. Failure to file, and there's different deadlines and different dates based off of when you started your entity. Failure to file this BOI can equate to up to 2 years jail time and up to a $500 penalty per day. Okay, so if you're an LLC for all of your businesses, you need that information. You need to file this report. This report is super important. They're going to need a copy of a valid driver's license or state ID that you'll have to upload. They're going to want to know who are the owners, who can they deem as the owner of this LLC, and it's with FinCEN.gov. So some people are just jumping out there and starting LLCs, but now they've created this new level of responsibility. So I don't believe it's a good idea to just start an LLC if you don't have a plan and structure, and you can't like you could before, just file later, not file because you didn't make money. It can be, a little situation, right? So what I'll say is this, you put me on the spot, Brother Ben, because you asked me about that link this morning. I'm like, what link are you talking about? So what I'll say is this, is I will drop a link in the chat that will allow you to get a free guide of just some tax deductions that could be useful in the event that you need help with your taxes this year. My team would love to be able to help you. We help individuals and, LLCs, corporations, et cetera, et cetera. I'm going to pull up that link so I can be able to drop it in the chat. But the resource that I created, it just kind of gives you some information in and around tax deductions and kind of some of the things that we talked about today, more at scale. So let me go ahead and pull that up. I believe I have it here. And then, yeah, I'm super grateful that we got to spend this time together. I think I have it here. If I don't, I'm just going to drop something else in the chat. you can click request a consultation and we'll figure the rest out from there. Brother Ben, you got to help me with this digital real estate and automations and all that. Like, let's not pretend like that's not what I got on lock. Like, I'm about to manually have to text every single one of them.
Hey, y'all, this morning, I said, Sister Cortney, what's the link? She said, what's the link? I said, come on.
This is what y'all do. So you can go to gotax.com, gotaxtime.com. You can request a consultation. If you request a consultation, it'll ask for your email. Make sure you say that you came through Brother Ben. And then basically I'll get you this free workbook that we have that kind of gives you an overage of tax deductions, along with like over 100 different deductions that business owners often miss. So you'll want to click that link. You'll want to request a consultation. Once you request a consultation, a member of my team will call you, kind of learn about you, your needs, and then, we'll get you that client magnet as well. All right? It's been a pleasure.
Is this let me make sure, is this the website right here?
Yes, sir. Request a consult.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to put the link. I just put the link inside the chat for you guys about 4 times on the YouTube and Facebook side. I'm going to put it in the chat for you guys where y'all can just hit that link and y'all can get signed up. All right. So thank you again, Sister Cortney, for your information and your game. Now, wait, before you go, have I submitted that? Have I submitted that thing? I ain't trying to go to jail now.
So listen, you will be submitting it. Everything is unlocked. So yesterday we completed I think we have maybe 2 more to do. So your information is literally right here on my desk. Brother Ben X, I don't know if you can see that. Your binders are right here, so you will be done today.
There it is, y'all. So y'all better say. So now y'all think they say he has scarcity and you want to have this. Y'all better go sign up now. Now y'all got a reason to really go sign up. You don't got time to be procrastinating. Let her team help you out. Let her team keep you out of jail, okay? So listen, y'all go to gotaxtime.com. Again, flood it, share it with your friends, share it with your family. I'm telling y'all, she is really, and her team is going to take care of y'all and make sure that you're straight. So thank y'all for listening. I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.
Is Brother Ben here? Brother Ben. Now, Ben got a heck of a program. A lot of people listening to Brother Ben. And Ben tells them about the minister.